Imagine a version of yourself who isn't thrown off by insults, setbacks, or the chaos around you. A version who responds instead of reacts. A version who walks into any storm with the calm of a still lake. That power is already within you, buried beneath layers of attachment, fear, and conditioning. And Buddhism offers a map back to it. In this video, we're diving deep into 10 Buddhist principles that don't just sound good on paper, they change the way you live. They'll teach you how to anchor your peace so deeply that nothing outside of you can take it away. Stay until the end, because the final lesson is one most people miss, and it's the key to making your peace permanent. Let's begin with principle number 1, mastering offense and insult. Principle 1. Offense is a mirror, not a weapon. In Buddhism, insults only have the power you give them. Like a rock thrown into a still pond, harsh words may cause temporary ripples in your mind. But unless you cling to the pain, your inner stillness will return. The Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." This single truth can transform your emotional life. Why? Because it reminds you, suffering is optional. Let's say someone insults your intelligence. If you're grounded in self-awareness, you won't be baited. You might see their words not as an attack, but as a reflection of their inner unrest. When someone throws mud, it often reveals more about the thrower than the target. There's a Zen story of a monk who was repeatedly insulted by a rude man. The monk simply smiled and said, "If you offer me a gift, and I do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" In other words, just because someone offers you pain doesn't mean you have to receive it. This principle doesn't mean you suppress emotions or become indifferent. It means you respond consciously. When you choose not to internalize someone's negativity, you reclaim your power. Practice this. Next time you feel hurt by someone's words, pause. Ask, "What about this triggered me?" Breathe deeply and mentally return the insult to sender. This isn't arrogance, it's awareness. Emotional freedom begins when you stop absorbing everything that's thrown at you. You are the still pond. Let the ripples pass. Next up, we'll explore a radical shift in perspective, turning every person you meet into your teacher. Principle 2. Transform everyone into a teacher. In the Buddhist worldview, no encounter is meaningless. Everyone you meet, whether they uplift you or challenge, you plays a sacred role in your spiritual development. This perspective radically transforms how we relate to others. Instead of labeling someone as a problem, we can begin to see them as a profound opportunity for awakening. Imagine someone criticizes you unjustly. Your ego may flare up. You may feel hurt or defensive. But if you pause and ask, "What is this person teaching me?" the moment becomes a mirror. Perhaps they are teaching you patience, or resilience, or helping you uncover the wounded parts of you that still seek validation. As the Buddha said, "When watching after yourself, you watch after others. When watching after others, you watch after yourself." Here's a real story. A woman once confided in her Zen teacher about how angry her ex-husband made her. He had betrayed her, and she couldn't let go of the bitterness. The teacher gently asked her, "Can you see that your ex was a master in the disguise of a destroyer?" She was startled. "He forced you to see your attachment. He cracked the illusion of permanence. He taught you where your peace depended on others. What better teacher is there?" From that point forward, she began journaling, not about her pain, but about what each person in her life was teaching her. Her perspective shifted, her resentment dissolved, and her emotional clarity deepened. By choosing to view everyone as a teacher especially, the difficult ones, we become students of life, resilient and ever evolving. Nothing can disturb our peace if everything becomes a lesson. Principle 3. Transform envy into emulation. In the modern world, envy is everywhere. Social media likes, luxurious lifestyles, curated perfection. But Buddhism offers a remedy not of suppression, but of alchemy. Transform envy into emulation. When we feel envy, it signals desire, but desire misdirected. Rather than wishing to diminish what another has, we can use it as fuel for our own growth. As the Buddha said, do not be jealous of others' good qualities, but out of admiration adopt them yourself. Instead of stewing in comparison, say to yourself, what can I learn from them? If someone is deeply confident, perhaps they've developed strong self-discipline. If someone's joyful, perhaps they've cultivated gratitude. If someone is compassionate, maybe they've walked through pain with open eyes. Don't envy their fruit, study their roots. A personal story. I once envied a Dharma teacher for the way he held a room in total silence, not through charisma, but through deep stillness. At first, I compared myself to him. I felt inferior, but then I asked, what quality does he embody that I admire? The answer, presence. So I began practicing deeper presence in my own daily rituals. Over time, I didn't want to be him. I wanted to become more myself. That's the power of emulation. True spiritual practice turns comparison into curiosity, envy into effort. And in that transformation, emotional turbulence becomes inner power. Principle 4. Be strict with yourself, but tolerant of others. Modern culture teaches us the reverse, to demand tolerance for ourselves and be highly critical of others. Buddhism flips this entirely. It asks us to be our own most rigorous teacher and to view others with generous understanding. This doesn't mean self-loathing or being hard on yourself. It means holding yourself accountable to your own standards, while giving others space to walk their path at their pace. As the Buddha said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. But love isn't permissiveness, it's discipline. Discipline that comes not from shame, but from purpose. A monk once explained it this way: the mind is like a garden. You must weed it daily. But do not judge others for the weeds they have yet to pull. Here's an example. Let's say you value honesty. You hold yourself to that. You speak truthfully, even when it's hard. But someone else lies out of fear. Instead of reacting with judgment, you understand they haven't built the same inner courage yet. You stay firm in your truth, but soft in your heart. This is not weakness, it is maturity. And maturity is what makes your peace unshakable. When you stop needing others to behave perfectly in order for you to be okay, you free yourself from endless frustration. Be strict with yourself, not to punish, but to rise. Be tolerant of others, not to excuse, but to understand. This dual practice builds both strength and serenity, and both are needed for true peace. Principle 5. No one can hurt you without your consent. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, but the storm can't touch you, not because it isn't fierce, but because you no longer fear the rain. That's the essence of this principle. Buddhism teaches that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. No one can truly hurt you unless you give them permission. This isn't spiritual bypassing its sovereignty. When someone lashes out at you with cruelty or betrayal, you have two choices. Absorb it and let it define you, or recognize that their actions reflect their inner chaos, not your worth. As the Buddha said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." I recall a young monk who was mocked daily by a bitter villager. The monk never responded in anger. When asked why, he said, "If someone tries to give you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" That line became my daily mantra. If I do not accept their insult, if I do not internalize it, it does not touch me. Inner resilience is not coldness. It is knowing the boundary between what is yours to carry and what belongs to others. Hurt people hurt people, but awakened people observe, breathe, and choose not to pick up the dagger handed to them. Mastering this means you no longer walk through life armored in fear. You walk in quiet power, knowing that your peace cannot be stolen, only surrendered, and you no longer surrender it. Principle 6. The power of acceptance. In Buddhism, acceptance is not weakness, it is wisdom. To accept reality as it is, without resistance, is one of the highest forms of spiritual strength. It doesn't mean you like what's happening. It means you stop fighting what already is. As the Buddha taught, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. I once met a woman who had just lost her job, her partner, and her apartment within a single month. Devastated, she came to a retreat seeking answers, but what she found wasn't a solution. It was surrender. In the silence of meditation, she stopped asking, "Why me?" and began asking, "What now?" That shift from resistance to responsibility changed everything. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means choosing how to respond rather than being hijacked by circumstances. When you accept reality, you regain the freedom to act with clarity rather than panic. Think of acceptance like water. It flows around obstacles. It adapts to any container. Yet over time, it wears down stone. There is immense quiet power in yielding. The paradox is, when you fully accept what is, you are no longer its prisoner, you become its master. Principle 7. Live in harmony with nature. The Buddha often taught under trees, walked barefoot through forests, and spoke of the Dharma as something reflected in the rhythm of nature itself. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. It teaches us balance, impermanence, and the sacred order of things. To live in harmony with nature means to remember we are not separate from it. We too are part of the cycles of day and night, of birth and death, of growth and decay. When we align our lives with these rhythms, we reduce the tension caused by resisting what is natural. Consider the seasons. Spring does not demand flowers to bloom faster. Winter does not apologize for its stillness. The sun rises without asking permission. The river flows without needing validation. What if we lived the same way? There was once a hermit in the Thai forest tradition who would spend every dawn watching the mist rise from the mountains. He said it reminded him of his own thoughts appearing, drifting, dissolving. In nature, he saw his mind, and in his mind, he found nature. Living according to nature is not just about ecology, it's about embodiment. Eating with awareness, sleeping with the sun, walking with gratitude, disconnecting from digital urgency and reconnecting to the sacred slowness of the earth. When you live this way, you no longer feel out of sync with life. You feel held by it, guided by it. You find peace not by conquering the world, but by returning to the pulse of existence itself. Principle 8. Focus on ethical living. Buddhism does not teach ethics as rules. It teaches ethics as clarity, as light, a path of conscious living where every action, word, and thought becomes an offering either to peace or to suffering. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." But he didn't stop there. He showed that what we do, how we speak, how we treat others, how we behave when no one's watching all returns to us like echoes through the canyon of karma. To live ethically means to live in integrity, where your outer life and inner truth are not in conflict. When your speech is kind, your thoughts are honest, your actions cause no harm you, become untouchable. Not because you avoid pain, but because you don't generate unnecessary suffering. A story. There was once a merchant in ancient India who gained great success, yet never lied, never overcharged, never manipulated. When asked his secret, he said, "I do not plant poisonous seeds. Why would I expect sweet fruit from deceit?" His wealth was not just material, it was the wealth of inner freedom. You see, ethical living isn't about moral superiority, it's about spiritual hygiene. Gossip muddies the mind. Dishonesty clutters the heart. Cruelty stains your peace. When you live ethically, your mind becomes a temple, a place of calm where clarity can enter without obstruction. So speak truthfully, act with compassion, choose what nourishes rather than what tempts, not out of fear of bad karma but because it is the only soil in which real joy grows. Principle 9. Practice gratitude daily. In Buddhism, gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a practice, a way of seeing the world with reverence rather than complaint, a way of saying to life, "I see you, I honor what you give." When you cultivate gratitude, you become immune to the poison of entitlement. The mind that always needs more can never rest, but the heart that sees what is already present, that heart becomes a sanctuary. There's a Zen story of a monk who received a single bowl of rice after a long fast. He bowed to it, smiled, and said, "This is enough." Someone nearby asked, "Just rice? Aren't you disappointed?" The monk replied, "I have food, breath, sky, and peace. What more should I want to carry?" Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to sufficiency. It reminds you that joy is not something you chase it's something you notice. Try this. Each evening, before sleep, name 3 things that went well, however small. A smile from a stranger, a moment of silence. The fact that your breath never once needed your permission to keep going. In the words of the Buddha, let us rise and be thankful, for if we learn nothing today, at least we learned a little. Gratitude is a rebellion against the mind's restlessness. It is a declaration. What I have is already sacred. Principle 10. Trust the process and let go of control. If you plant a seed today, you don't dig it up tomorrow demanding a tree. You water it, you trust the soil, you allow the seasons to do their work. This is the essence of the final principle, surrender. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not from life itself, but from our resistance to its flow. We cling, we grasp, we demand outcomes, and in doing so, we strangle our own peace. To trust the process is to live in alignment with Dharma's natural unfolding of truth. It is to say, I will do my part and let the rest go. I remember a student who desperately wanted to reach enlightenment. He pushed through 10-hour meditations, fasted, slept little, yet peace evaded him. His teacher finally said, "You're clenching too tightly. Peace is not a mountain to conquer. It's the breeze that enters when you open the window." Surrender is not laziness. It is the highest form of intelligence. It's knowing when to act and when to release, when to hold on and when to bow to impermanence. Let go of the obsession with how your life should be. Instead, meet it as it is. Because life doesn't follow your timeline, it follows wisdom's rhythm. And often, the detour is the true path. When you surrender the need to control every detail, you gain something greater, the ability to dance with uncertainty, to trust the unfolding, to rest in the truth that you are not separate from the river of life but flowing with it. As the Buddha said, you only lose what you cling to. So loosen your grip, open your heart, trust the process. Because the moment you do, you don't just find peace, you become it. True strength is the absence of resistance. Imagine a tree during a storm. The branches that fight, the wind snap. The ones that bend survive. In Buddhism, we often confuse strength with force. But real strength isn't hard. It's fluid. It's not resistance, it's resilience. The highest form of power is not control, it's surrender. Let me tell you a story. A monk once lived at the edge of a war zone. Armies passed through, villages burned, people fled. But the monk remained, sweeping his little temple each morning with perfect serenity. One day, a soldier approached and asked, "Aren't you afraid?" The monk smiled. "Of what? I already died to fear." He had let go, not of life, but of the illusion that clinging would save him. This is your invitation. Stop resisting what already is. Stop wrestling with emotions as if they shouldn't exist. Let sadness come. Let uncertainty sit beside you. Let fear walk with you, but don't let it lead. True inner peace arises when you no longer need life to behave for you to remain calm. That's the strength that can't be shaken. The 10 Buddhist principles for an unshakable mind. Let's revisit the path we've just walked together. These 10 timeless Buddhist principles aren't rules, they're invitations to liberation. Insult and offense. Let others keep their poison. Don't drink it. Transform everyone into a teacher. To see even the hurtful as awakeners. Transform envy into emulation. Let admiration become evolution. Be strict with yourself, tolerant with others. Grow inwardly, love outwardly. No one can hurt you without your consent. Reclaim your power of response. The power of acceptance. Suffering ends when resistance ends. Live according to nature. Align with life, not against it. Focus on ethical living. Purify your karma, and your mind will follow. Practice gratitude. Let joy become your natural state. Trust the process and let go of control. Release and rise. And the bonus truth. True strength is the absence of resistance. Your peace is not won through war but through stillness, insight, and presence. The inner revolution begins with you. If this message stirred something inside you, then you already know it's not just a video, it's a call. A quiet whisper saying, "You're ready." Ready to stop being tossed by storms that aren't yours. Ready to stop seeking approval from voices that don't understand your soul. Ready to return to yourself fully. So here's what I ask you to do next, not for me, but for your own path. Spend 10 silent minutes with yourself today. No distractions, just breath, body, and awareness. Ask, what am I still clinging to that keeps me from peace? Share your insight below. What principle resonated most with you? Writing it down is how you root it into action. Send this video to someone who is searching for calm in the middle of chaos. Be their mirror, their reminder, their beginning. Subscribe to the Enlightened Mind, because this journey is just beginning and you don't have to walk it alone. In a world that constantly demands your reaction, your approval, your obedience, the most radical thing you can do is return to your center again and again. Peace isn't passive. It's powerful. Let your mind become still. Let your soul come home. Let your presence speak louder than any noise around you. This is your temple. And no one or not the past, not people, not pain can shake it again.